So I just want to start by getting this out of the way because it's pretty important. The title of this video isn't completely accurate. You see, these games came out about a week apart. In fact, DC's Justice League Heroes came out first, which of course means they had no time to blatantly copy Ultimate Alliance. But even with that said, I really believe there was something going on in the inner workings of Warner Brothers and DC, even if it just means that they saw the success of X-Men Legends and went, we need to do that, but with our Justice League. Because you cannot tell me that DC just happened to make a superhero ARPG that focused on team-based dynamics at around the same time the Ultimate Alliance came out, especially considering that this is what X-Men Legends was praised for in the first place. Anyway, I'm mostly doing this video because Ultimate Alliance comes out today, or it's already out, and I thought it would be fun to look back in time and fuel the fire that is DC versus Marvel because while Marvel is kind of wrecking shop in the movie department, there's always going to be that rivalry. So with that said, let's dive into the time that DC Comics copied Marvel Ultimate Alliance. As I like to do with a lot of these videos, I'm gonna take a look into the history of Justice League Heroes, and I'll even delve a little bit into Ultimate Alliance and X-Men Legends because it does provide a lot of context into why I think DC took heavy inspiration from Marvel's success in the video game realm. Also, I just want to note that there isn't a lot to go off of since I didn't find out a whole lot on the development side of things. But to start it all off, it's kind of interesting how X-Men Legends evolved into what we know now. Basically, the devs started off with the simple idea of making a X-Men RPG, and it branched off from there. But where it ended up shouldn't be too big of a surprise since a lot of Raven Software's previous games had some form of RPG element. Interestingly enough though, one of the early ideas was to make a turn-based game as that was the easiest way to handle party-based combat. It was like in the Final Fantasy, which really fires up the old neurons. I legitimately wish I could see how that would have played out because I think the only turn-based Marvel games are exclusively mobile. But they moved from there and eventually settled on making the game an action game because superheroes and action go together like gamers and the Joker. Throughout the process, the thing that stayed the same was that they always wanted it to focus on the cooperative aspect of being an X-Men. Boom bam pow, you get a well-received game that sold a bunch of copies. From here, timelines start to get funny though. In early 2005, X-Men Legends 2 gets announced, and in the next month, Activision gains Marvel RPG publishing rights, which ended up letting them publish X-Men Legends 2 that year, and later down the road, Ultimate Alliance. Around this time, like in the same month, Warner Bros. Announces that they're working on a Justice League game. The funny thing about that though is that it was just an announcement, and that was that. There was no mention of a developer, and for a full year, there was no news of the Justice League game mentioned. If you ask me, I think they just wanted to say something amidst all the Marvel news. Fast forward to March of next year where X-Men Legends 2 has already come out and was just as well received when it is finally revealed that Snowblind Studios had been working on Justice League Heroes and that it will be coming out that year. Of course, this announcement came before Marvel's announcement of Ultimate Alliance and ahead of E3 where Ultimate Alliance had the chance to be shown off. All of this finally ends with both Justice League Heroes and Ultimate Alliance coming out a week apart to varying reception. This might not seem like a lot to draw the conclusions that I drew, but it's just too convenient to not talk about, you know? And if that's not enough, how about this? For X-Men Legends, the group Man of Action helped write the story. If you don't know, that's the group who created Ben 10. Moving on to the JLH game, the story was written by Dwayne McDuffie, who was brought into Ben 10 to work on Alien Force. Coincidence? Probably. Ben 10 Alien Force came out way later, but I thought that was a funny connection, which is how all good conspiracies start. Now that the history lesson is over, it's time to talk about the Justice League heroes themselves. So to start off, I gotta say the story is pretty simple, all things considered. Brainiac sets out to take over the world as all good supervillains should. To do this, he enlists the help of other villains to distract the Justice League while he goes and steals the Mother Box. Alright, so let's see who we have. First up, we have Queen Bee, who has hands down the longest level and is really fast for no discernible reason. Her whole motivation is that she wants to turn the whole world into a hive, but I can't understand the logistics of it. Like, she really needs to scale back her operation because she has yet to turn even one city into a hive. After that, we have the Key and Killer Frost, and they both do very similar things involving missiles in similar levels, and they are just absolute pushovers. Especially Killer Frost, who just kills over after not moving away from explosions. Gorilla Grodd has the coolest level design, but that's about it. I actually can't remember his fight, it ended so quickly. Then there's Doomsday's clone, who was more of a puzzle than an actual fight, and I'm bad at puzzles. Beating him paves the way to Brainiac after getting past his security. Oh, and at some point he also frees the White Martians to further provide distractions, but they just end up being part of some of the worst levels and whose leader gets borderline one-shot by the combined might of Superman and the Martian Manhunter, because they really are too strong. Once you get past the soft lock, you finally beat Brainiac, but it was a fake out. It turns out that Brainiac was tricked by Darkseid because Brainiac was really desperate apparently. Darkseid takes him out for good, uses the Mother Box to banish the Justice League to another dimension, traps Superman in a kryptonite prison, and turns Earth into Apocalypse instantly. When all hope is lost, it turns out that the Mother Box tricked Darkseid and rerouted the Justice League to a place that has radiation to protect them from Darkseid's Omega Beams. Also, the place they're in conveniently has a teleportation device, so they get back to Earth, Apocalypse, pretty quickly. There, they rescue Superman, beat some robots, save some civilians, and destroy Darkseid, who only killed one of my heroes during the boss fight because of some bullshit. And that's pretty much the story. It's pretty simple, and there's not a lot of moving parts to keep things interesting. The Darkseid stuff was sort of out of nowhere, but it just felt tacked on. In fact, everything after the Darkseid reveal just felt rushed. Like, the reveal happened and the game ended like 30 minutes later, and even then, Darkseid probably only had like a minute of screen time total. You know, thinking about it, the Darkseid taking over the world for a bit thing reminds me of what Dr. Doom did in Ultimate Alliance. There are some similarities in the story where Dr. Doom uses other supervillains to help his plot to conquer the world, though in Ultimate Alliance, there were a lot of other things going on that added more body to the story. And while I'm comparing the story between Justice League Heroes and Ultimate Alliance, I might as well talk about what else was similar between the games and, of course, talk about what's different. Because even though the developers at Snowblind Studios said they wanted to look more towards their own games for inspiration, there are still some parallels you can draw. First of all, you have the RPG system. Leveling up is pretty similar. You level up and can put points to skills and stats, though there are a lot more things to put points into in Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but that's mainly a consequence of how short Justice League Heroes is relative to Ultimate Alliance. Oh, and to symbolize the finality of life or something, you can't remove points you put into skills in Justice League Heroes. So if you mess up or don't fully understand the skill, you're shit out of luck. P.S. Don't put any points into Regen because it's a scam. I guess if you have some good orbs then it could be really good, but more on that now actually. In Ultimate Alliance you have gear that randomly drops and costumes. The gear provides different buffs to your player and the costumes let you put points into them to get more stats. Things are really different for our Justice League. In fact, it took me a bit to understand what was actually going on. So when you level up anything, a slot is unlocked which will let you put an orb into it. You get orbs randomly when you kill enemies, and there are a couple of different types of orbs like speed, damage, duration, etc. You slot these into your skills and the skills get enhanced. The orbs dictate what type of enhancements your skills get, so you just have to read what it'll do. In addition, you can fuse your orbs to get stronger orbs which will allow your abilities to get really buffed out. It can really get out of hand. For example, you can slot some efficiency orbs on your most powerful spells so that they cost next to nothing. Then you put some points into energy and suddenly Zatanna is spamming fireballs like it's her basic attack. The biggest problem is that there are too many heroes and not enough orb drops. You can't unequip orbs, so you end up just putting them on your favorite heroes and hope that they show up in enough levels. Which actually leads into the next difference. In Justice League, they tried to tailor the levels towards certain heroes, which meant that more than half of the levels pick the heroes for you. I don't know how to really explain this clearly, but this along with some other things really make the game feel really linear. Still, this could be alright because it makes you play heroes you might not have played if you had the choice. The problem starts to show up as you realize the game is getting harder as you go through it, like any game would. But the thing is, you occasionally get a new hero who is way underleveled, meaning that they get killed extremely easily. You literally have to turtle and just wait for your energy and health to regen. It's just awful. There are levels where you can choose your hero, but there's no reason to pick any new heroes you unlock for the reasons I just said. Now for the smaller things. In these two games, combat is very similar with a light and heavy attack, plus the combos that some games feel make good tips. In fact, there's a launcher to slam down combo that looks exactly like a combo in X-Men Legends, plus the skills work the same. And this is really minor, but the amount of health drops are stupid scarce in Justice League, which only contributes to how hard this game can be. Another super minor thing to mention is that more than one person can edit their character in Justice League, which is a vestige from Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. This is something that I feel is actually an improvement over the Marvel game since it really does speed up the leveling process, but dealing with orbs can be very annoying since it's a shared pool. There's a lot more things I could talk about, but I could just drone on forever, and I know you're already thinking about closing the tab, so let's move on. Wait, there's actually one more thing Justice League Heroes has that Marvel Ultimate Alliance does, and everyone is voiced, and Batman in particular is voiced by Ron Perlman, and it's hilarious. It's like
tricked Brainiac into freeing you from your extra-dimensional prison. The Mother Box was behind everything. Darkseid kept him, probably to torture him by showing him this.
It's like someone shot a lot of bat tranks into him so that he always speaks at a low, barely audible frequency while still being the loudest in the room. Now, for the whole video, it did seem like I didn't like Justice League Heroes, but you know what? I didn't hate it. Just because I say that it was copying X-Men Legends and by extension Ultimate Alliance doesn't automatically make it a bad game. Look at GTA versus Saints Row. Saints Row started off as a clone of GTA and grew into something different. I believe that if Justice League Heroes had time to get some sequels or something, it could have been something original to call its own. Maybe like making it a more story-heavy experience or something. I don't know, I'm not a game maker. I'll admit though, going into it and for the first couple of levels, I was ready to shit on it. But as I started to level up and understood how the orbs worked, it was actually pretty fun, even if it was just to see how big the numbers could get. Of course, this is a double-edged sword because as soon as I played a weaker character, the game became anti-fun again. There was a level where we picked 2 weak characters because we're dumb and should know better. It was an absolute drag. Enemies style all over you and your best moves take all your energy. Oh wait, scratch that, we actually did that twice. But with that said, I do think the combat is a little better than Ultimate Alliance, mainly because only having 2 characters on screen creates a lot less clutter. The bosses range from interesting to Control-Alt-Delete, and half of the bosses were puzzle bosses where you had to do something unrelated to combat to actually beat the brakes off of them. Still, I don't think this game is better than Ultimate Alliance. It's just that Ultimate Alliance had a lot of different things going on and a lot more variety to the levels. There was an incentive to explore the maps because you got collectibles and maybe even unlock new characters. And speaking of characters, I think there's more than double the amount of heroes in Ultimate Alliance. I mean, 3 of the heroes in Justice League were Green Lanterns who all played the same. Plus there was a lot more story and there were actually side missions too. Justice League had no side missions and each level boiled down to go to this place and save these civilians. It's mostly just a means to get to the next cutscene and that sucks. Overall, just use the cheat that gives you a bunch of orbs and go wild. That's how you have the most fun. But it's a fun enough time and I would actually play it over Ultimate Alliance if I just wanted to play a short superhero game because Justice League only took like 6 hours to beat. And with that, I talked about all the stuff I wanted to, so we finally reached the end of the video. If you're playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, let me know how that is, and leave a comment down below on what your favorite superhero game is. Also, if you liked the video, be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more content from us. It really does mean a lot. But before you try to figure out how to get out of that big brain soft lock, have a good day.